Hey there, music maker. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the formula to one of the most essential musical tools when it comes to understanding Western tonal music, the major scale. A lot of you are familiar with this term and probably even know a few scale patterns yourself, but if you sit back and think about it, do you actually know the formula for how a major scale is made? If not, go ahead and stick around for the lesson. Before we go ahead and dive into the video today though, if you haven't had a chance, hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button. That way you'll get notified whenever we upload a new video here to the channel. Also, if you're interested in things like PDFs of the tab and sheet music for our exercises and tunes, backing tracks, and access to our community of musical learners just like you, go ahead and click that link below in the description to the Mandolin Secrets Guitar Club. There you're going to find everything you need to know about how to sign up and get access to all of those extras. Okay, the major scale. We kind of talked about it in the beginning as one of the most essential musical tools when it comes to understanding Western tonal styles of music. All I mean by that term, Western tonal styles of music, music that evolved from Western European musical sources. And that typically includes most American styles of music as they were blended with African American and other influences in this country. So we're talking rock and roll, blues, bluegrass, country, polka, all that kind of stuff. So the major scale often is incorporated into or is the musical foundation for a lot of these styles of music. The major scale is where we build things like chords and melodies. So understanding this formula is definitely something that's going to be essential if you want to attain that kind of deep understanding of the styles of music that I just mentioned a little while ago. So let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. There's a really simple pattern of whole steps and half steps that we can use to achieve any of the 12 different major scales. So the first thing that we're really going to need to review here is what is a whole step and what is a half step. So a whole step is simply the distance of 2 frets on the guitar, or if you're familiar with the chromatic scale, it's the distance of 2 pitches in the chromatic scale. So say we're going to build an E major scale here, starting with that low E string. If we go up a whole step, we start on the E string as 1 fret, 2 frets. So that's the next pitch inside of the major scale. That 2nd fret of the low E string, an F sharp. Now, the other kind of interval that we need to learn here is the half step. And when we're thinking about half steps, it's simply half of a whole step, 1 fret's distance. So if we're on that low E string again, low E string is starting point, half step is up to that F note. So now that we kind of have a basic understanding of intervals, we can look at this formula that I've written at the top of my whiteboard here. And this is the formula for the major scale. So what we're going to do is start with a pitch and then go up a whole step, another whole step, then a half, then 3 whole steps, and then another half step. And that's how we get all 7 unique pitches in a major scale. So just to kind of test this theory out, let's go back to our friend the low E string here and see if we can build what I like to call a single string major scale. We're just going to do whole steps and half steps all the way up the E string and then maybe back down if we're feeling crazy. So if we're on that low E string, that's our starting point. We need to go up 1 whole step, so 2 frets, F sharp, up another whole step, G sharp, up a half step, so 1 fret, to A. Then we go whole step to B, whole step to C sharp, whole step to D sharp, and then a half step to bring us back home to that E note. And then back down, go a half step, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. So there you have it, my friend. That is the formula to build the major scale, and this works on any starting pitch in the chromatic scale. If you're familiar with the chromatic scale, or the musical alphabet, as I like to call it sometimes, we have 12 pitches total that are possible in Western music. So that means out of those 12 pitches, we can generate 12 major scales. You can use any of those notes as a starting point, then apply this whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half formula to it to get any of the major scales that correspond with that starting note. So I just helped you build the E major scale on one string here. My challenge to you right now is to go through all of the rest of the strings on the guitar and see if you can build single string major scales that correspond with all of those starting notes. Now that may seem pretty easy, right, if you've got this formula, but I'm going to add a little bit of an extra challenge there to you. If you can, name all of those pitches on your way up the guitar. Now, if naming pitches on the guitar is something a bit of a problem for you, then I would suggest doing some fingerboard mapping, we call it. And I've got just the lesson for you. There's a lesson that I released called the Note Name Fixer. This is a exercise that I stole from my buddy Magnus Zetterlund, and it's a real simple exercise for how to start to map pitches on the guitar and then kind of get a better sense for where you can find all your E's and C sharps, etc. on the neck of the guitar. So, like I said, if mapping the fingerboard and naming pitches is a bit of a problem for you, maybe start with that lesson and then come back to this one, okay? All right, my friend, thank you so much for joining me this quick lesson here on the formula for the major scale. I hope this has been useful for you, and stay tuned for more videos here because we're going to talk in the future about how to unpack the major scale and use it to build melodies, chords, and all of those wonderful things that I was talking about before. All right, music maker, take it easy. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you in the next video.